Oscar Piastri beat teammate Lando Norris to pole position at Dutch Grand Prix after a gripping qualifying duel between the two title contenders. Norris set the pace in all three practice sessions at Zandvoort, but not for the first time this season. Championship leader Oscar Piastri saved his best all Q3 to just pip his teammate. Piastri is now in a perfect position to extend his 9-point advantage over Norris in the championship after F1 return from its summer break. Max Verstappen gave his home crowd something to cheer about, taking third, although a quarter of a second off the pace of the McLaren. Dutchman will unexpectedly be joined on the second row by Isaac Hadjar from sister team Racing Bulls after he delivered an storming lap to get ahead of George Russell and the Ferraris. With Russell fifth, Charles Leclerc won out in the battle of the Ferraris, just pipping Lewis Hamilton despite the latter being quicker than him up to that point. It was still Hamilton's first Q3 appearance since the British Grand Prix at the start of July, and the 7-time world champion said that he's made progress this weekend, even if Ferrari have been underwhelming. Capping a fine Saturday for Racing Bulls, Lawson took 8 ahead of Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, who faded as the weekend went on, and his teammate Lance Stroll crashed out in Q1. Just touching the grass on the braking, and that was enough to send him off. He was able to drive the car back to the pit lane, but the damage was too significant to fix it, and they're already working on changing the car to be ready for the race. But Antonelli and Yuki Tsunoda also dropped out in Q2, once again disappointing. Much of the basis though for Piastri set forward to provide a mere consistent formidable challenge to Norris this year has come from a big improvement in his qualifying record against the Brit, with the Austrian turning what was 24 drubbing in 2024 into what now stands as a 9-6 lead. This has been despite Norris offering being the McLaren driver to take the early initiative in a weekend as up to Zandvoort until qualifying had been outpaced by Piastri in all three practice sessions, twice by a quarter of a session. But the came the first stage of qualifying Q1. Piastri was suddenly ahead by a tenth, and then Norris nudged back in Q2, but the Australian put himself ahead again in Q3 when it mattered, and that first lap was decisive, confirming Piastri's fifth pole of the season. This was the definition of peaking at the right time, said Piastri. The whole weekend I felt good. I just had a couple of corners where I needed to work on. I didn't really go faster in those corners, but found some more elsewhere. Super happy to come away with this result. It was looking to be a pretty tricky weekend, so I'm pretty stoked. Norris came close, as such is the nature of the battle, which could go either way, but the Englishman believes it's still all to play for tomorrow, even though it will be tough for him to overtake on the Zandvoort's tight and twisty roads. While Verstappen qualified off the front row, it will be, I think, a pleasing day for helmet marker and Red Bull, with Hadjar in fourth once again, kind of laying out his case to be taking that second Red Bull seat next year in 2026, with Tsunoda struggling again. But before I go, let me run you through the classification for qualifying, and starting off with Oscar Piastri. Huge for him to just nick that pole. I think that's so important for him. Lando Norris will be disappointed to miss out, and it will be a tough race ahead for him now. With Verstappen in third, probably about the best he can hope for, so I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Hadjar in fourth, wow, what a job he's doing, an unbelievable performance by him, and he'll be looking to convert that into big points for tomorrow. Russell will be disappointed not to get ahead of Hadjar, but a pretty decent session for him. Similar stuff for the Ferraris, they'll be disappointed, just not really having any pace all weekend. I think Hamilton will be disappointed not to be ahead of Leclerc, because he's been faster than for much of the weekend. Lawson eighth, he'll be pleased, but also when you consider where Hadjar is, maybe he'll be wondering if he left time on the table. Sainz will be pleased to be so far ahead of Albon, who struggled, and then Alonso as well. It just felt like Aston Martin pace has faded over the weekend. Anthony and Tsunoda will be disappointed to miss out on Q3 once again. Nash continues to struggle. Borsato once again beating Hulkenberg, super impressive from him. And then Gasly's Alpine not really having the pace. Neither was Colapinto as well, to be fair. And then you've got Hulkenberg once again struggling to be his teammate. The Haas really struggling, and Stroll will cost the error, because that Aston Martin really could have been in top Q2, bottom Q3 contention, as we saw with Alonso today. So costly from him. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.